It's time to wake up, everybody. It really is that hour when we really need to watch what we're going and where we're doing and make this world better. It's time to change the world that we live in. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking. Time for thinking ahead. 'Cause they're very long from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you got to say. 'Cause they're the ones who are growing up and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Put your hands together out there. The world won't get no better. We'll just change this world, just you and me. Yeah, yeah. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. 'Cause they're the ones who suffer and catch all the hell. But they don't have so very long before that judgment day. So won't you keep them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely it will work out. We do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. No, 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 no. The world won't get no better. We gotta change this world, just you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We gotta change the world. We gotta change the world. We gotta change it. We gotta change the world. Teachers, you gotta wake up. Doctors, you gotta wake up. People, you gotta wake up. We're gonna change the world. Wanna change the world.
Change the world.
Wanna change the world.
Change the world.
Wanna change the world.
Change the world.
Wanna change the world.
Change the world.
Change the world.
Change the world.
Can you change the world? Can you change the world?
And moving in that same spirit, good afternoon, all. Good afternoon. My name is Kiara Haynes, and I am a member of Friendship West. I am a member of the healthcare ministry, and I also serve in the Brodenwell Center for Gender Justice. Before we start, I would like to go ahead and open us up with prayer. If you all could bow your heads. God of love, God of justice, God of equity, God of hope. We thank you for bringing us here safely to Austin as we advocate for the survival of our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, and for the generations yet to come. We come before you in solidarity and in power as we fight against the social evils that are structured in the very fabric of our policies. We are advocating for just policies that honor the humanity of Black women, of Black mothers. We are advocating for equitable and just policies, as we know. Justice is what love looks like in public. We are standing on moral authority to urge those in positions of legislative power to resist the urge for complacency in their hearts and minds of neglect and structural violence. It is our prayer that this rally is ascending forth to stay engaged in the work of maternal and reproductive justice. In Jesus' name, amen and ashe. So I'm going to give us an intro and open us up before we hear the voices to come. Today, Friendship West gathers as a faith community along with other peoples of faith, allies, and co-conspirators and sponsors to engage our legislators on moral authority to charge Texas legislators specifically to be responsible for implementing and advancing policies that promote safe and respectful maternal health care and make health care accessible and affordable. As we engage in public policy rooted in our faith, I want to lift up first the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who stated in 1965 at the end of the Selma to Montgomery March, of all forms of inequality, injustice in health is the most shocking and is the most inhumane. Today, in 2023, these forms of inequality in health exist as the rates of Black maternal mortality and morbidity are at an all-time high. The Black maternal mortality crisis has been present in the United States for almost a decade, and the statistics have insurmountably increased in 2022 as Black women are 3 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related cause than any other race. According to a 2022 state report, Texas' leading cause of maternal death and illness is a lack of health care, affordability, culturally competent medical education, structural racism, and implicit biases. These health disparities that Black women experience are not new, but only more visible in 2023. These realities of Black women are occurring despite the U.S.'s annual spending of $111 billion on maternity and infant care. We are challenging everyone to be engaged on Black maternity mortality issues. In this moment, we will center the voices of Black women who will share their maternal health care experience. We will be moderated by the womanist revolutionary pastor of social justice at Friendship West, Reverend Danielle Ayers.
Good afternoon. I'm just here to keep this train going. I want us to really hear from women who have been impacted by the healthcare system. So I'm going to bring up Cheryl Prelove, who is a member of Friendship West. She's an active member in our justice ministry, and she is also a healthcare executive, so she knows it inside and outside. So I want Cheryl to come and tell her story. So we leave here not just seeing numbers, but we see real humans behind the numbers and percentages that we see.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be here today to share a little bit about my experience when I gave birth to twins almost 16 years ago. And Kiara said a little bit of what I'm going to talk about around kind of the unconscious bias that people have and assumptions that they make about African American women and what we can and cannot handle. So my story starts out with, I go in to have my daughters. It was a complicated delivery. We knew that was a potential. It required additional units of blood, the whole 9 yards, probably one of the more difficult things I've ever done in my life. And after the delivery and all the other activities that had to take place at that time as well, the next day I am in my room. My provider comes in to see how I'm doing. I will say that I had a wonderful provider, African-American woman. She was wonderful. And she asked me, she's like, "How are you doing today, Mrs. Prelove?" And I said, I'm just having the hardest time just sitting up. I'm very lightheaded. And so she just kept talking to me, and then she asked me about the food, and I was like, well, I really can't tolerate what they've given me. So she looks, and she sees, the doctor, she sees that my diet is wrong, and probably after about 30 minutes to an hour, I just see some blood come to the room, and I have another unit of blood given to me, and then I'm able to kind of kind of perk up and be able to sit up. So I am pretty much in a not very good state. My daughters, they were healthy, they were small, so they were in the NICU because they needed to be because they were small to help maintain their heat. But Mom, I was having the challenge. And so, throughout my stay, I needed assistance, just kind of doing the daily routines. And I would call and ask for help, and the nursing station would tell me, you need to be able to do that yourself. And I said, I cannot. I am still lightheaded. I cannot do the things that you think I should be able to do. And so they really did not help me. The nursing staff did not help me at all. My family, my husband at the time, they helped me to do the things that I needed to do. And I never received any type of feedback or interaction with that nursing staff on any of the shifts that were really concerned about me. It was the doctor who looked like me, and it was the environmental service staff who came in to clean the room. They would check on me. That's who cared about me in the hospital with my twins. And one of the other things that they did to me, again, I am trying to get to the point where I can be alert, stay up, and walk by myself and not feel faint. And so I'm in trouble. My girls, they're in the NICU. They get discharged from the NICU. I literally receive a call at, I don't know, I'm going to say midnight. I don't know what time it was. It was dark, and it was late. And they said, Mrs. Prelove, if we don't discharge your daughters from the NICU, you're going to be charged $2,000 per child per day if they stay in the NICU. And I'm just like, it's 12 o'clock, it's midnight. I can't think. I can't think. My husband had went home to get rest, so I had no one there to advocate for me and help me to think through that. So what happens? All I'm thinking about is money. I mean, that's the only thing that comes to mind, not thinking about my health. And I said, okay, bring them to the room. So I have a 4-pound, 13-ounce baby and a 5-pound baby in the room with me, and I can't even get up. So that was my experience. And I'm in the healthcare field. I actually worked for the health system where I delivered my children. They didn't know who I was at the time, so I was just treated like anyone else. But it was just a very disheartening experience. And then when it was time to leave, I knew we had a program, the organization had a program in place where they help make parents feel more comfortable leaving the hospital with their child to make sure that their seatbelts are installed correctly, just so everyone gets home and safe. So I asked for that. They said, we don't do that. And I said, yes, you do. I work here. Actually, that's part of my job to make sure that you all do the things you say you're going to do in the community. At that point, the hormones are going, so I'm in tears. I literally have to call the director of the program for the hospital for her to then call the nursing staff to get someone to do the seatbelt safety check for me. So my entire experience was just, I felt like I wasn't seen as a woman, and I couldn't help but think that, does it have something to do with what I look like? And the assumptions around what I should have been able to do, and given the complications of delivery, I was not able to do those things. But at no time did I feel like from anyone other than my provider, and I kid you not, the environmental service staff, did I feel like anyone cared about me and wanted to make sure that I was okay. If I didn't have my mother or my husband or other family members there, I just was not able to do anything. So it is so important that I think we really raise this awareness around what people think black women can do, and make sure they see us as whole individuals, and that we too need help, and that we deserve that help. We have a right to that help, and that the system needs to be set up to make sure that we can get that. I happened to be employed, had great insurance, and still had a terrible experience. Can you imagine for all of our mothers who are poor, uninsured, underinsured, and don't have the resources that I have? And that was the hospital experience. And then we think about what happens when you go home. we still need help. These mothers, young parents, they still need help, and we need to make sure that there's enough medical coverage so that after they give birth, they can still seek help and have access to other services like doulas to assist them. So I'm just so encouraged to see everyone here, but I hope that you walk away understanding that it doesn't matter what your station in life is. As a Black woman, we're all seeing the same, and regardless of the resources that I had, I still had a very hard experience, and thank God I survived it. But it was really difficult. We need to make sure that we have the social structure and the financial structure set up to support Black women, Black families. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl, for giving her testimony. So now we want to center the voice of the Black women, but we also know that we need co-conspirators in this work. So I'm going to bring up my good friend. He is with Faith in Texas. He is also the co-founder of the Black Faith Coalition, Reverend Edwin Robinson.
What's up, everybody? Thank you all so much for coming out here and being a part of this rally. Let's give Reverend Danielle Ayers and Friendship West a major hand for ensuring that we are here today, that our voices are heard in this space. Look, I will be really quick because I'm not going to take up too much space, as men tend to do. But I want to be clear that in 1965, Black women got the right to vote in this country. In 1968 was the last time that this country passed any meaningful policy that directly affected the lives of Black people. Hear what I said. In 1965, Black women got the right to vote, and in 1968 was the last time in this here country, these here yet to be United States, that we passed any meaningful policy that directly affected the lives of Black people, and particularly Black women. Since 1965, Black women have consistently been the single highest demographic in voting in this country. I want y'all to take that in. Black women have been, since given the right to vote, the single highest demographic in voting, and women across the board writ large. What does that mean? That means since 1965, there has been a plot and a plan to ensure that not only women, but Black women are restricted from the right to vote. Yeah, they gave it to them in policy, but they try to take it away from them in the courtroom, in the hospital, in the streets, on their jobs. And this is yet another example of how the system has systematically and targetedly affected the ability of women to not only give birth and nurture our society in the way that they desire to, if they desire to, but has also decided that Black women in particular, if they can't vote, if they can't have children, then they can win this thing. Y'all say that that's too deep in conspiracy, and that's okay. We'll bring our heads up a little bit. Here, Lyndon Johnson from Stonewall, Texas, was the gentleman who signed that policy into order. And now it is Texans who are doing everything they can to reverse the actual policies of their own good old boy. I'm not going to be before you long, but here's the thing. I don't come to Austin much because even though I'm a preacher and a pastor, I tend to cuss a lot when I see injustice. And so I don't need to be in there because I'm going to cuss and I'm going to kick stuff over. Here's the thing. I don't believe that they in that building have any intention on passing the policies that we demand today. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't speak, because the Bible tells me simply this. I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of God. Something I don't have any children, but I got little nieces and nephews. I got great nieces and great nephews. And when they want something, they never stop asking. When they really, really want something, they find a new way to ask it. And when you tell them no, they go back to the first way they asked it and bring them all together and keep on asking. So I'm not here because I believe that they're going to change their minds today. But I want to be in the kingdom. So I came like a little child. And we're going to keep asking. We're going to keep saying it. We're going to keep talking until they do what they're supposed to do. And if they don't, we will build the power and we will vote them out of office. Because black women are the highest voting demographic. That means you got the power. Let's get it.
Let's give it up for Reverend Edwin Robinson, who's going to tell it like your TI is all the time. Listen, we want to keep this going, but we also know that arts are a very big part of who we are and what we do. So we're going to have a creative arts presentation. And the next voice you will hear will be from another story of a black woman who had her encounter with the healthcare system.
My skin is black. My arms are long. My hair is woolly and my back is strong. Strong enough to take the pain. Again and again. What do they call me? They call me Aunt Sarah. My name is Aunt Sarah. My skin is yellow. My hair is long. Between two worlds, I do belong. My father was rich and white. Voice my mother late one night. What do they call me? Sophronia. Hey, my name is Sophronia. My skin is tan. My hair is fine. Oh, I got hips for you, Daddy. My lips like wine. Who's a little girl of mine? Yours if you got money to buy. What do they call me? Sweet thing. They call me sweet thing. My name is sweet thing. Sweet thing. My skin is brown. My manner is tough. I'll kill the first mother I see. My life been real rough. I'm often bitter these days. slave. What do they call me? They call me Aunt Sarah. What do they call me? Sophronia. What do they call me? Sweet thing. What do they call me? They call me Peter. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. My name is Peter.
So hello everyone. I'm a little short, so I gotta pull it down some. So for starters, the main victory here is that I'm alive. That's the main victory within itself. My name is LaShonda Hairston, and having served in the medical field for 12 years, I know I look real young. Thank you to my mom and dad. But my experience was actually I was also an employee of the hospital, and upon finding out that I was 9 centimeters already with my child, and I went in to let them know, hey, I'm ready. I was told to sit down. What do you mean sit down? I'm getting ready to have this baby. Oh, well, her water hasn't broke yet, so she can wait for a second. Upon getting in the room, there's also another young lady in the room. Are we both going to be in here having kids together? And that was their plan. She was a white woman, and I'm a black woman. I told them I'm crowning. I could feel my baby, my son, coming out. I could feel him. And I'm like, he here. Never had a chance to get an epidural. Was given natural birth, not by choice. But the doctor, I could hear him down the hall saying, okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. Upon entering the room, he didn't come to me. He went directly across from me, where she wasn't even dilating. And I sat there and I was in pain. And I'm like, I'm in pain. And they just looked at me. And if you work in the healthcare field, you know there's cards, right? And they tell you between this face all the way up to this face, tell me what you're feeling. I'm being forced to tell them what I'm feeling while giving birth by myself. No push classes. I didn't know how to push. I was 21 years old. I didn't imagine having a baby at that time. I was already told I couldn't have kids. And all of a sudden, now I'm getting ready to push a baby out. No instructions, no support, because I am a single mom. And the doctor said, oh, here he come. He proceeded to turn around with the same gloves and attempt to take my son. And I screamed. And I was like, no. For one, I work in the healthcare field. You're not going to do that. After giving birth to my son, I passed out. After passing out, I really don't remember what happened. But once I woke up, my first question was, where's my son? Oh, he's in there. What's there? I want my son. once I got my son was not even clean. And I look across from me, and her baby was already born, clean. All the nurses are around her conversating, and I'm with my child with no help. I'm ringing the button because I'm in so much pain. Can I get something? I'm in so much pain. And once again, the card was questioned, tell me what your pain ranges from. 10 being the worst. And I told him it's about an 8, about a 9. Okay, we're coming. And left the room and left me in there. The only reason after that my son and myself was able to get care is because I had to pull, I'm an employee card. And the only reason they found out I was an employee because thank God that I worked for the orthopedic trauma physicians, where I'm actually, and made history being the first and only orthopedic cast tech, a black woman. And they came in to visit me and found out that, oh, she works here. It's detrimental that we shouldn't have to pull a card just to say, oh, I work here, just for us to get care and being black. Because not only was I accused of having Medicaid, and I didn't have Medicaid, I actually had United Healthcare. That was the first front. Oh, she has Medicaid. Shouldn't even matter. Shouldn't matter about any of that. Matters is the care of women in general to be able to give birth comfortably. Where my son was even taken to a nursery. I don't even know where my son was because that hospital doesn't even have nurseries and haven't had it for 3 years. So I'm still puzzled to this day, and I have a 9-year-old. Where was my son in between that time? Because he wasn't by me. I say all that to say these rights matter. If it wasn't for, let me just say it, because I wore it on purpose. This is the reason why, only reason for years why we've been surviving. If it wasn't for God on our side, we would not be surviving because no one cares about what we have to go through. I'm still in the fight today with the hospital systems as far as black women's rights, and I do that because if I could just get one black nurse, maybe my care would have been different. If I could have seen one black doctor, maybe my care could have been different. So I encourage you, not only for yourselves, but for the children that you have, encourage them, because there's only 2% of black African-American men doctors, for one. That's a low percentage. And then for two, there's not barely African-American nurses. There are African descent nurses, but no African-American. So with that being said, there's no change if nothing changes. And if you don't change it and be the lead in changing that, it's not gonna happen. So with that, I'm gonna be that change, and I'm gonna go back to nursing school, and I'm gonna be that one nurse that helps and get those babies out and make sure that they get the care that they need. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I want to give it up again for Cheryl Prelove and LaShonda sharing their story, being transparent, sharing their testimony. So we thank them for that, and we thank God they survived the moment, and they're their advocates for other women. So now I want to bring up who I often call the people's pastor. He is the 21st century German major for justice. He is our pastor, the Reverend Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes III, the pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas.
I want to say thank you, first of all, to Pastor Danielle Ayers for her wonderful leadership, her prophetic witness, and for using what God has blessed her with to be a blessing, especially in this instance, to those who have been victimized by racism in maternal health. And so I thank God for Pastor Ayers. I thank God for our social justice ministry at Friendship West. I thank God for each and every one of you who have joined us. And I especially want to say thank you because Pastor Ayers demonstrates, and I think we all are witnesses, to the fact that you don't have to be a black mother to care. You don't have to be a black mother to stand up for maternal rights and justice. And so I salute Pastor Ayers. I salute each and every one of you. And let me also say thank you both to Cheryl and LaShonda for their courage. And imagine both of them in health care. And because of their knowledge, they took a stand for themselves, and now they are taking a stand for others. But imagine if they did not have that kind of knowledge, that kind of healthcare IQ. So many sisters find themselves without that healthcare IQ, and as a consequence, they find themselves in a sick situation. So thank you to all who are on this program. I also have to say thank you to our fine arts ministry. I've got to let, amen, our fine arts ministry has been absolutely amazing. Dr. Norfleet, I did not know it until Vincent told me that there is a group in our church now called Saul and the Heavenly Gates. And so Saul and the Heavenly Gates are responsible for the wonderful music that we experienced this day. Martin Luther King Jr., in his last speech, often not quoted, had a luminous yet lamentable line when he said, "The nation is sick." Martin Luther King Jr. was serving, as it were, as a physician and diagnosed that America was sick on April 3rd, 1968. What is sad, sinful, and more sick is the reality that all these years later, 55 years later, in just a month, the infection continues to spread. And not only does the infection continue to spread, but shamefully, it is most painfully showing in the symptom we are discussing this day. And that symptom is the absence of protection for our women when it comes to maternal health. Well, I quoted Martin, so I might as well quote Malcolm. For Malcolm X put it like this: in this country, the most neglected person is the black woman. In this country, the most disrespected person is the black woman. In this country, the person least protected is the black woman. 55 years after Martin King declared the nation is sick, I declare, my sisters and brothers, that one of the most painful symptoms of the spreading infection is the fact that black women are still least protected, black women are still most neglected, and black women are still most disrespected. And it shows up, sadly, don't miss this, in the public policies that are poisonous and pernicious and keep black maternal health care in the background. As a matter of fact, I'll simply say it, it's downright sick. It's downright sick that has been stated by the wonderful Kiera Haynes. Kiera put it like this. She said, in this state, the leading cause of maternal death is a lack of access to health care. That's sick. It's even more sick when you think about the fact that we have a governor by the name of Greg Abbott. And Greg Abbott has the nerve, please don't miss this, to reject the expansion of Medicaid coverage that is downright sick. It's sick, Mr. Governor, especially when you call yourself pro-life and one who believes in family values. No, that's sick, because your pro-life stance does not extend to maternal health care for black women. That makes you anti-life, Mr. Governor. It's downright sick, Mr. Governor, when you refuse to expand Medicaid coverage when the number one cause of maternal death is a lack of equitable access to health care for our women. Mr. Governor, if you're going to be pro-life, then go ahead, expand Medicaid coverage. If you're going to be about family values, then make sure that you value value black maternal health care in this state, Mr. Governor. Mr. Governor, if you don't, I declare it's downright sick. And that is the diagnosis we've come to bring to Austin, is that this state is sick as long as we don't protect and respect and stop neglecting our black women when it comes to maternal health care. It's sick. And please don't miss this. Understand that the sickness that our sisters experience has everything to do with social determinants. And so, as Dr. David Williams of Harvard says, that when you look at the life expectancy of our sisters, it's not determined by their genetic code, but by their zip code. Because if you live in a zip code with a lack of access to health care, a lack of access to recreation, a lack of access to healthy food, a lack of access to health care that respects your humanity, especially when it comes to cultural competency, if you don't have that kind of access, then the sad reality is you will find yourself experiencing an early death. And Mr. Governor, we've come to Austin to say, if you're going to be pro-life, then be pro-life. If you're going to talk about family values, then value those who find themselves victimized by a lack of access to equitable health care. That means we've got to deal with, here it is, social determinants. And those social determinants means it's not just a lack of access to health care, it's the social context that our black women find themselves dealing with and up against. So, Mr. Governor, let's deal with social determinants. And when we deal with social determinants, that means you cannot stand against diversity, equity, and inclusion in our schools and in economic opportunity. Mr. Governor, if you're going to be pro-life, let's deal with the social determinants, such as not only diversity, equity, and inclusion, but make sure, Mr. Governor, that you recognize it's one thing to talk about celebrating Juneteenth. Well, don't whitewash history and don't let us find out why we have a Juneteenth. We've got to deal with the social determinants of systemic racism, structural injustice, and toxic masculinity that comes from the crime scene here at the capital of the state of Texas. Because you will agree with me that if indeed black women are dying at 4 times the rate of white women because of this maternal health care crisis, that means this is a crime scene. And we ought to circle this entire Capitol with yellow tape and declare that we are going to do an investigation. And our investigation has already revealed it's your racist and sexist policies that have created the crime against the bodies of black women in this state. So the diagnosis is it's a sick state. And so I'm going to prescribe some treatment. First of all, in this treatment, let's make sure we prioritize in a specific way health that's equitable for black women. I think my man Edwin already said it the last time we had public policy that specifically addressed black people in general, black women in particular, was in 1968 with the housing bill. But don't forget the voting rights bill of 65, the civil rights bill of 64. But when all of those bills passed, even though they were race specific, they benefited the whole country. The whole country got better. So don't be afraid to target specifically bills and laws that are going to lift up black women, because we've discovered if we bless black women, we bless everybody. So let's prioritize. Let's prioritize. And so there's a bill that's being lifted in terms of doula health care that has to do with ensuring that we extend from 6 to 12 months the care that women receive after they give birth. Let's prioritize black women and health care, especially maternal health. But not only that, let's make sure that both before, during, and after, black women have access to health care. So, Mr. Governor, let's expand Medicaid. Mr. Governor, let's make sure that everyone has access to health care. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. I guess I'll close with this, and that is several years ago, right before COVID, I had to speak at a school on the north side of town. And so I'm speaking, and all of a sudden there's a disruption while I'm speaking. And while speaking, this kid stands up, turns around to a bully behind him, and says, "What you not gonna do is disrespect my mama." I like that. I mean, evidently the bully was talking smack. And so the brother stands up, whirls around, "What you not gonna do is disrespect my mama." And then the bully, seeing that the brother was gonna clap back at him, then said, "Bro, take it easy. It's not that serious." And that's when the brother said, "If you talking about my mama, yes, it's that serious. We came to Austin to stand up. We came to Austin to basically say what you not gonna do is disrespect our black mamas. We came to Austin to say, yeah, it's that serious." And so that's why we are here. We gonna take a stand. And that brother then wrapped it up and said, "Every time you talk about my mama, I'm coming for you." And here we are in Austin to say, until there is equitable access to health care, until you take care of our black maternal, our black women mothers, until you ensure there is liberty and justice for all, we're going to keep on standing because it is that serious. It is that serious. And so, sisters, I stand here as an ally. No, Stacey Floyd Thomas says it's not enough to be an ally. We got to be an advocate. So I'm going to be your advocate. And as your advocate, I'm saying I'm standing. It's that serious. And to quote Tupac, "Lady, don't you know we love you, sweet Sadie? Place no one above you, sweet lady, because you are our sisters. And as our sisters, we rise with you, and we will die standing for you. And we gonna keep on coming, because there will be no peace until we get some justice in black maternal health care. We gonna stand because it is that serious."
Let's give it up for Dr. Haynes. Look, thank you all for being here, but I have to acknowledge our sponsors. They're not just sponsors monetarily. They actually are doing this work, so I think it's important to acknowledge them. I want to first acknowledge Fellowship of the Southwest. I don't see a Naira out in the crowd, but there's a Naira. There she is. And Stephen Reeves, our good friends at Fellowship of Southwest. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. Want to thank the Gathering of Womanish Church. You heard from Dr. Camila Hall Sharp yesterday. You're going to hear from her co-pastor in a matter of moments. We want to thank Dr. Jamie Calazar and Reverend Edwin Robinson, Faith in Texas. And we have to absolutely thank our church, Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. So I want to bring up Reverend Aaron Walter, who is the minister and executive director of the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry and the minister for joy and justice at the First UU Church in Austin, Texas. She's a justice advocate in Austin for decades, and she serves with Pastor Ayers on the board of Texas Impact. So let's give it up for Reverend Aaron. I just want her to say a few words. She was down from day one and kept saying, whatever you need, we're here to be support for you, because she understands what it means to be a real supporter and not insert herself. So she's standing with us. So we thank you, Reverend Aaron. Come and talk to the people.
It is an honor to be up here. Let's give a hand again for all the speakers that you heard. We are here by invitation and with much gratitude, and I thank everyone, our siblings in faith. This is an interfaith rally, and so I'm going to invite you to translate what I'm about to sing for you and translate it into the pronouns that you need, into the words for the divine that you need. And I'm going to tell you, as a Unitarian Universalist minister, one of the life-giving things for me is Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, one of the groups within our faith. And a song that I know is precious to the Blue Beloveds was keeping me up last night when I couldn't sleep. All I could think was this, and I'm just going to sing a piece, and I hope you'll forgive me because I'm no Hezekiah Walker, but I need you, you need me, we're all a part of God's body, stand with me. Agree with me, we're all a part of God's body. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. That last part again. You are important to me. I need you to survive. And I need my Black family members and my Black friends and my Black people with uteruses and all the people with uteruses and all the people I don't know yet to not just survive, but to thrive. To thrive. And you deserve, and we deserve, as a whole human family, everything that you have heard demanded here today. So my ask to my siblings in Unitarian Universalism today is to do every day what we have done today, which is to accept the invitation, to show up for those who are directly impacted. I see you at the back, not coming to the front. Good job. To listen and just be present to what is being asked. And to go back and to develop relationships, deepen the relationships you already have, be listening, and just today is just one day in the work that we commit to for the rest of our lives. Yes. And we are going to be a thorn in the side of every legislator, every staff person, everybody we saw today. We are going to be on them. And I want to see that postpartum health care happen. And I want you to be proud you are part of it. But this is just the beginning. So we're honored. And thank you so much to our partners. And we are here, and we will stay here, and we will be here. Thank you.
So just real quick, next step, because this is just beginning, so we invite you to continue to work with us. Many of you have already approached me. You live in Austin. You want to help us continue the work. And if you're not connected with us, at any time, you can scan the QR code on either banner that's on either side of me, and we'll get your information, and you will be on our listserv, so you will know when we're taking action, because we'll follow these bills. Our next steps are to follow these bills to make sure they make it through committee, and with a committee hearing, if we're able to do so, we want to make sure we make our way down and make our voices heard within the committee hearings, okay? So make sure you sign up to be with us and to continue this work. Now I want to bring up a dear sister that has certainly been a big support for me from afar and also up close, and she is powerful, so I'm just going to move out the way, and I'm going to call up Dr. Irie Sessions to come and to send us forth.
There is a song by the king of pop that went like this: they don't really care about us. See, that's why we're here today, because as difficult as it is for us to admit, as challenging it is for me to say, and as hard as it is for us to believe, they don't really care about us. They don't really care about Black women. And in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, personally, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of the rejection. I'm sick and tired of not being listened to. I'm sick and tired of not being seen. Aren't you sick and tired of being sick and tired? So what are you going to do about it? You showed up here today. We have heard messages about what the legislature can do. We have heard messages about what our representatives can do, about what our senators can do. But what about you? What are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do when you leave this place? And so I have just 5 things that I think would be helpful. And so I'm going to ask you a question, 5 questions to be precise. And if these are things that you can do, I want you to say, I will. Is that something you think you can do? Yeah. All right. When you leave here, will you see black women? Now, I don't mean will you look at black women. I don't mean will you ogle black women. I don't mean if you will objectify black women. I mean, will you see black women? To see black women and girls is to understand us. It is to seek to understand us and all that we have to deal with. It is to see and understand all the things that are in our past that have formed themselves to kill us. Because you do know that every day something has tried to kill us but has failed. So will you see black women? Will you stay aware of what's happening to black women? Will you educate yourselves on the issues that face us, the issues that we cannot solve by ourselves? No woman is an island, and no woman stands alone. We cannot fight these battles on our own, because personally, my back is tired. My feet are tired. My mind is tired. Our uteruses, God help us, are tired. Will you stay aware of what is happening in the lives of black women? Will you, here we go, will you speak up for black women? Not speak over, not speak instead of, but will you speak up when you're in the boardroom and there ain't no black women there, but you know they're talking about your coworkers who are black? Will you speak up then? Will you speak up when you're in all of the boardrooms? Will you speak up then? Will you speak up when you're in your congregation? Will you speak up when you're in the grocery store and you see the mistreatment of black women standing right in front of you? Will you speak up? Will you show up with and on behalf of black women? Will you show up with and on behalf of, show up in the fullness of your white privilege? Will you show up? Will you show up in places where we can't be? Will you show up and use your privilege in ways that lift up, that honor, that support black women and black girls? Will you do it? And finally, will you strategize with black women? And here, because let me tell you something, we got some strategies. Didn't you see it today? Didn't you see Reverend Danielle Ayers? This is strategy. Will you strategize with us? Will you partner with us to eradicate, to disrupt, and to dismantle these systems of oppressions that have sought to destroy us? Because when you destroy the black women, you destroy this nation. Because if we don't thrive, you don't thrive. But let me tell you something. By God's grace, we gonna thrive.
All right, as we finish our last election here, this will be the last thing that will happen at this program. We're going to head on out from here. But at this moment, we just want to share a mighty message of this one fact. As we stand together as one, we must remember in this fight, no matter what shade we are, no matter what our gender is, we must stand together as one, act as one, because all of these things matter to each and every one of us. And together, we can make a difference, y'all. We are one. It's all right if you go and clap your hands with us on today. I can't understand why we treat each other this way. Taking up time with the silly little games we play. Oh, we've got our love, and no matter what is said or done, we are one. No matter what we do, we are one. Our love will see us through. And that's the way it is. Oh, we are one. We are one. No matter what you do, we are one. Our love will see us through. We are one. And that's the way it is. We are one. Oh, we are. Oh, no matter what we go through, we are one. Our love will see us through. We are one. And that's the way it is. We are one. Oh, we are. We are one. Oh, no matter what you do, we are one. Our love will carry us through. We are one. And that's the way it is. Oh, we are one. That's right, y'all. We are one. I hope you carry this message with you today as we leave from this place.
Woo! Give it up for yourselves for being here. Make sure you scan the QR code to stay connected with us. If you rode the buses are to the left this way. They all going to Friendship West, so just get on the bus. Well, no. Aaron, where's your bus?
They got time. You are gonna meet down on the
line. Oh, okay. So Friendship West, just head to the left, and you can get on either bus. They're both going to the church.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.